I know I don't understand your experience.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I have never had to live it.
Come on now.
I can sympathize, and I can recognize when things are wrong.
We sisters and brothers here. Talk.
For instance, if a black man or woman should never be afraid for their life, for getting pulled over for speeding.
Come on now. Come on.
But I have never lived in that fear.
Come on now. Come on.
No black man or woman should ever be reluctant to walk outside for fear of racial profiling.
Tell it, sister. Tell it.
But I have never been racially profiled.
That's right.
Come on now.
No black man or woman should ever expect to go to jail in their lifetime because of the color of their skin.
Come on now.
But I have never lived in that expectancy.
That's good.
And this is why I don't believe in the phrase, I don't see color.
That's right.
One, to say you don't see color is a lie. We're different. We can all see that. But two, and way more importantly, to deny the differences in our skin is to deny the differences in our privilege.
Come on. Yeah.
I'm going to say that again because I think it's worth repeating. To deny the differences in our skin is to deny the differences in our privilege.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next point. To deny the differences in our color is to promote ignorance.
Tell it, sister.
Ignorance is the reason that systemic racism and oppression is allowed to exist in this country.
Tell it, sister.
That's good.
So why am I here? Why am I up here speaking?
Come on now.
Tell them, sister.
I'm going to talk on about three things. One of those is change, the other is ignorance, and one is discomfort. I'll get there.
Go ahead. Take your time.
Broadly speaking, why am I here? Because I want change. But let me speak on that for a second. Because I think a lot of people want change.
Yes.
I think a lot of people say they want change, but let me clarify. I think a lot of white people think they want change.
Come on.
But here's the thing about that. In order for there to be a true and genuine change, for you, for the black community, for people of color, there has to be an equal and requited amount of change for white privilege.
That's right.
And that is something that white people don't want to think about. They don't want to admit that. White people don't want to acknowledge the head start we have in life just for being born this color.
Tell it all. You need it all now.
You know what? That is willful ignorance.
Put it on front line.
Willful ignorance is what allows oppression to continue in this country.
Together we stand. That's it.
So I'm going to talk on ignorance for a second. I think one of the biggest things that allows ignorance to continue is our education system.
There it is, baby.
Yes, ma'am. Our education system.
Yes, ma'am.
And what I mean by that is our education is a white man's education.
It is.
It is a white man's history.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell it.
Why does that matter? Again, like I said, I can recognize when something is wrong. And that is wrong. Why? Because when you tell that history, the history that excludes black history and black culture and the black experience, you allow white people to think that nothing is wrong. And when that happens, you allow white people to think, well, it was bad back then, but it's not bad now. Hell no.
That's right.
It's bad now. In fact, some might say it's worse because this is systemic oppression.
That's right.
This is institutional oppression. This is oppression that is not overt, but it is just as powerful, and we are able to hide it.
God almighty.
And I have more to say. If you want to hear all of it, please come out Saturday.
We'll be there.
Thank you. We appreciate it. But just know the reason I'm here is because I stand by you. I support you. I love each and every one of you out here. We are brothers and sisters to the day we die. And this is not my time to have my voice heard, but I will use my voice for you. I promise.
Thank you.
There's an old saying that black people have always known white people better than we even know ourselves. And I'm going to prove to you why this is true in this video. Number one, the reason my words have always triggered white America is because I've done what most white folks are too terrified to do. I simply put the myth down. I walked away from the racial lies and the narcissistic narratives we were fed from birth. I stopped buying into the delusion that our comfort is the only reality that matters. I'm not talking to you from inside the white bubble anymore. I'm just talking from the outside. You see, there are two Americas. One is built on the hard truth, and the other is built on a white fairy tale. Black people have the clarity they have because they never bought into the myth of white supremacy. They knew it was a hustle from day one. But white America made a deal with that myth. We traded our soul and our connection to reality for a sense of superiority that doesn't even exist. And that's the God's truth. That's why white folks have zero credibility when you talk about race. We can't have credibility when you're living a lie, can you? And in 2026, we're seeing the receipts for that truth. Last month, 8 million people, mostly white folks, marched for No King's Day. They were out there screaming about fascism, affordability, and the loss of democracy under Trump's regime, like the house that just caught on fire this morning. But look at who's not in those streets. Black people largely set this one out. Why, you might ask? It's because black people tried to warn white people for years. They pointed at Trump and said, this is where this ends. They sounded the alarm on the racism, the corruption, and the rot. But white people didn't listen. We went ahead and supported this racist regime in massive numbers anyway, because we were too blinded by our own greed and our own fucking arrogance to care about who got crushed as long as we felt superior. Yes, we saw a great white, morally bankrupt narcissist that mirrored our white narcissism perfectly. Trump, the white man's racist messiah. See, white supremacy is a moral lobotomy. It has turned white America into toxic, delusional people. White narcissism spiritually stunts the person holding on to it. Fact. I know I was a racist. And we need to be clear. White supremacy isn't just the guys in the hoods or the extremists in the news. It's the everyday culture of white America. It's maintained by the average white person who either perpetrates it, denies it, or enables it through a cold, calculated apathy. It's all that silence that gives it permission to breathe. We thought we were the owners of the machine, but we were just the next ones on the menu. Now that the smoke is finally reaching our front doors, we're acting shocked. But black people aren't shocked. They've been looking at us from the outside for centuries, seeing the truth of our chaos while we were busy getting high on our myths. We spend all day, every day, spewing 1,000 false narratives and lies about race, indoctrinating ourselves with a belief system that keeps us trapped in this myth. No, black people aren't coming to save us this time. They're standing back, watching white people fuck around and find out what happens when you build a world on a fucking lie. That's why, despite the struggle, if you ask a black person if they would ever want to trade places and be white, the answer is almost always a resounding no. They'd rather keep their soul and their clarity than inherit our racist soul-crushing delusion. Because at the end of the day, black people have always known white people better than we have ever dared to know ourselves. They've always understood that white supremacy was never just about power. It was a form of enslavement for the white man. And ultimately, it is our destruction. So white America, I'm going to leave you with this. James Baldwin told us, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's fucking faced.
I started going to church with our black neighbors. They invited me a few weeks ago. And I was curious, excited. I'd never been to a black church, and I haven't been to any church in years, so I went. I didn't know what to expect. They told me that church starts at 10 o'clock, so I arrived at 9:45. What they did not tell me is that parking lot church starts at 9:30. So I was late. So I got there, we went inside, and I sat down next to Miss Beverly. And then the church starts. And the choir starts singing. And the music starts playing. And it was amazing. And they sang, and they sang, and they sang. And we were on our feet. This went on for an hour. Then we sat down. Then the pastor came out and started delivering his sermon. And I had never seen anything like that. That was something. He would start preaching. We would get fired up. Then we would stand up and say hallelujah, then sit back down. And he would preach some more. Then we would stand up and say hallelujah and sit back down. Then he would preach some more and we would stand up and say hallelujah, then sit back down. At one point, I had my hands up over my head. Didn't even know why. That lady sitting next to me in the purple hat was vibrating in her seat. It was something else. I don't know what I believe. And I don't know what they're selling, but I'm buying. I'm in. They convinced me. Whew. So I went back the next Sunday, and this time I was ready. I got there at 9:15. I was wearing a nice tailored suit, nice pair of shoes, looked the part this time. We walked in. And I sat down next to Miss Beverly and that lady next to me in the pink hat. And it was the same thing. The choir was singing and the music was playing and we were standing and we were sitting and the pastor came out and he delivered a sermon and we would stand up and say hallelujah and sit back down. I had my hands up over my head again and didn't know why. That lady in the pink hat vibrated again. I mean, I am sold. I can't get enough. So this time, I stuck around for fellowship afterwards, and they had a spread of food a mile long, and everybody was so nice and so welcoming. Everyone came up and they shook my hand and introduced themselves to me. At one point, that lady in the pink hat, she came up, she grabbed my hand, and then she told me about all the potholes on her street. Asked me what I could do about them. I don't know what that was all about, but I guess I can make some phone calls. Yeah, I'm going back this Sunday. For sure. But my buddy Marcus, who just happens to be gay and a little sparkly, wants to go. And I asked Miss Beverly. She said fine. So I'm going to take my gay friend Marcus to my black neighbor's church.
Okay, this is going to sound arrogant coming from a white guy, but I finally figured out why it is so infuriating to be black in America. And just hear me out. You can let me have it if I'm wrong. But the infuriating thing about being black in America is not being pulled over for driving while black. It's not being passed up for the promotion that you deserved. It's not even the generational wealth and opportunity that your family lost because of redlining in your grandparents' generation and the centuries of oppression before that. What's infuriating is that you can't talk about it. You can't talk about these things without being accused of playing the race card and making it all about race. That's the infuriating part. It's like you're not allowed to talk about reality, your own lived reality, without constant pushback. So we made this documentary, The Sins of Our Fathers, Race, Religion, and the Rise of Trump, which actually just came out this week. Because we realized that Donald Trump didn't deceive us, we deceived ourselves. Because we refuse to face the truth of our own history as a nation. So we're bringing it all to the light so we can face reality even if it's uncomfortable. Because until we are honest about our white supremacy, past and present, we have no pathway forward as a nation.
White folks, you gotta change. Because within 30 years, you will be a numerical minority in the United States of America. And you had better pray to whoever you pray to or for, that people of color are not going to get even with us and treat us the way we have treated them. If you can't think of any other reason for treating people like equal human beings, think of that one. Because what you do today is creating the future. I don't think you want the kind of future that you have provided for people in the present. I may be mistaken. You may not know what's going on. You know what's going on. And if I asked you, if every white person in this room who wants to be treated the way we have treated people of color in this country, if you'd like to be treated that way, all you white folks, if you want that for the rest of your life, please stand. Did you understand the directions? If you're white, and you think blacks have got it so good in this country, and you want to be treated the way they have been for the rest of your life, just stand up. You know why you aren't standing. You know it's ugly, and you know it's happening, and you know you don't want it to happen to you. So I want to know why you're so willing to allow it for others in this post-racial society.
Before we begin, if you enjoy honest conversation that challenge assumption and explore the story behind today's biggest social issue, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Do you think it is possible for people to genuinely change their view after hearing your experience? And really like to hear your perspective. Now, let's get into it. One of the hardest things for anyone to admit is that they may have judged the wrong people. It takes humility to step back, question the long-held belief, and ask whether the picture we have been given is the whole story. What's interesting is that some Americans say their view didn't change because someone argued with them online or because of a political slogan. They say it's changed after real conversation, personal experience, or meeting people whose life didn't match the stereotype they had believed. Maybe that's the bigger lesson. It's easy to blame an entire community for society problem, when you have never had a chance to hear their story. But when people begin listening instead of assuming, they sometimes discover that the issues are far more complicated than they first believe. This isn't about saying one group is perfect or another group is entirely wrong. Every community has challenges, strengths, and different experience. The real question is whether we are willing to let facts, personal experience, and honest conversation challenge our assumption instead of letting fear or stereotype make those decisions for us. If more people were willing to question what they think they know instead of immediately choosing side, America might spend less time blaming one another and more time solving the problem that affect everyone. Thank you.